Since the reversal of Roe v. Wade, medical facilities across the country are trying to figure out how to abide by new rules on abortion, and many doctors now have to consult lawyers and hospital ethics committees on decisions involving routine care. The Washington Post reports the standard of care for incomplete miscarriages, ectopic pregnancies, and other common complications is being scrutinized, delayed, even denied, jeopardizing maternal health. A woman with a life-threatening ectopic pregnancy sought emergency care at the University of Michigan Hospital after a doctor in her home state worried that the presence of a fetal heartbeat meant treating her might run afoul of new restrictions on abortion. At one Kansas City hospital, administrators temporarily required pharmacist approval before dispensing medications used to stop postpartum hemorrhages because they can also be used for abortions. And in Wisconsin, a woman bled for more than 10 days from an incomplete miscarriage after emergency room staff would not remove the fetal tissue amid a confusing legal landscape that has roiled obstetric care. Which brings us to our next guest. Joining us now, Democratic congressional candidate for New York's 19th U.S. District, Jamie Chaney. Jamie, thank you very much for coming on the show this morning. I want to start by showing our viewers a look at your very first TV advertisement for this campaign, which dives right into this issue, telling your personal story.
I started a company that is focused on supporting working parents in the workforce and giving them the tools that they need to succeed. Subsidized childcare, flexible schedules, healthcare for all employees. When I was a young parent, I was pregnant. And due to a very rare immune disease, I got very, very sick. Doctors were able to identify a medication that I needed to fight the infection. If you make the decision to take this, there's a real risk of significant health impacts to the fetus. And my husband and I made a healthcare decision to terminate the pregnancy. These are our choices, and we need to be able to make them. I cannot wait to get onto the debate stage and have Mark Molinaro look me in the eye and tell me that abortion is not healthcare. Those rights were not hypothetical to me when I had to make my own healthcare decision. They're not hypothetical to women today. No law, no tradition, no Supreme Court decision is too big to challenge and change. I am Jamie Chaney, and I approve this message because we need to protect our reproductive freedom.
And Jamie, thanks for sharing that with us, the first time here. And I know that you said there, I can't wait to get on the debate stage and talk about this. So what is your answer to a challenger who says that all life, life begins at conception, and these fetuses are babies and they deserve the right to life?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me this morning, Mika. I look forward to a challenger asking me that question on the debate stage. I had to make a medical decision. I was incredibly sick. I was so sick that I could not get out of bed and take care of my existing young children, take care of their lives. I made a medical decision that was the best for the lives of my family. Since I've started to share my story, I have heard from so many women. Abortion as health care is not something that only happens on the fringes. There are so many instances of this on a regular basis. And in this moment, women who are in a position to do so need to be sharing our stories to take away the stigma, because only then can we have a true conversation about how important this right is for women in our country. I'm sharing my story because abortion is health care.
Now, you know, Mika asked the question, what would you say to those people who would say that life begins at conception? Well, we've had some of those people in focus groups saying that's what they believe, saying they believe the election was stolen, saying that they were huge Donald Trump supporters, but also saying, I'm a man. That's not my choice. Yeah. That should be a woman's choice. And I think that's the thing that struck both Mika and me the most since the Dobbs decision, that so many people are telling us, hey, we may be pro-life, but we don't want to make decisions. We don't feel like we have the right to make the decision over a 10-year-old girl's body who's been raped in Ohio, or a mother of two who may have a medical condition where she has to make the decision. We've been really surprised that really ideology doesn't make a big difference to so many people who think women's fundamental rights over their own health care, over their own bodies, has been taken away. So what do you do? What do you do to reach out, not to just Democrats, but Republicans alike?
We have a lot of conversations. So I am running in a very rural, very, very purple district. It is larger than the state of Massachusetts. We drive 1,000 miles a week, and we have a lot of conversation. And the conversation that we're hearing on the doors is exactly what you alluded to. The American people do not think that there's a place for anyone but a woman to be making this decision. I happened to be out in the district the day that the Dobbs decision came down, and I was with a group that was primarily female across party lines. And I would guess that the ages in the room were women in their early 20s through probably their mid-70s. And to a person, when someone spoke up and said the Dobbs decision had just come down, every woman there had silent tears running down her cheeks. This is not a partisan issue. This is an issue
really
about
isn't.
women's health care.
Yeah. It really, Jonathan Lemire, and that's the thing that, again, reports that Donald Trump himself, a guy that appointed these judges, was fuming quietly, privately, saying that Republicans, the Texas law was stupid, it was going to hurt Republicans, and said to people close to him, he understood what this Dobbs decision was going to do. And again, we're all seeing it. Yeah. People are just absolutely shocked, Jonathan, that the Supreme Court has stepped in and said a state can compel a 10-year-old girl who's been raped to have a forced birth, and in every other situation as well.
Yeah, and there are a number of Republicans who feel like this actually endangers their chances this fall. And obviously, this is such a personal decision, of course, but we are talking about the politics of it as well. Have you seen that this is, by any measure, an environment this November where Republicans were feeling optimistic because of inflation, the president's poor poll numbers, et cetera, but this Dobbs decision may have changed things and excited members of the Democratic Party?
What I'm hearing, again, on the doors, on the ground in the district, is that in this moment, across both parties, people are ready to look for a candidate, not a party, because they don't feel aligned with any single party. So what we're hearing consistently in the district is this. There are 3 issues on the ballot this fall: Roe, guns, and the cost of living. And as candidates, we need to make sure we're addressing each of those. I am the only candidate in my race who has any kind of track record delivering economic empowerment for working families. I built a business based on that. I'm the only candidate who can deliver on all 3 of those in this race.
Yeah, you know, Mika, Jamie also tweeted something we've been talking about on July the 14th. Texas Republicans want to criminalize abortions even when a mother's life is at risk. I'm disgusted, but after Dobbs, I can't say I'm surprised. And that's where the Republicans are in 2022. They're fighting efforts to save a mother's life when her life is at risk on an operating table.
Candidate for New York's 19th U.S. Congressional District, Jamie Chaney, thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, and thank you for coming on the show this